Don't think of your life as this is my professional life and this is my personal life. You don't have a professional life and personal life. Remember, you have one life. And either it's working for you or it's not working for you. Odds are pretty good you will find that there is always an undercurrent of tension. Something is not happening quite the way in which you would like it to happen. We're all living in a matrix. It's a matrix that we have created with our mental chatter and mental models. In this complex world, you feel that you are at the mercy of changes, and many of these changes are coming from far away. You can control what's between your ears. Many, perhaps the majority of students who take it say that their first major breakthrough happened as a result of an exercise. I call it the alternate reality exercise, that you start acting in such a manner that success seems to dog you. Don't chase success. Let success chase you. That's a discovery process, and I invite you to join me in finding out for yourself how powerful these principles are.
Hi everyone, my name is Ujjaval Buch. I'm a global executive leadership coach, and I would like to call myself an instrument of the universe. I'm also a proud student of Creativity and Personal Mastery, a wonderful course created by Dr. Srikumar Rao to help us through human predicaments that we all face in daily lives. My life really changed for the better when I took this course and felt transformation all around me. So I would like to introduce Dr. Srikumar Rao. Welcome, sir, to this conversation.
My pleasure, Ujjaval.
And we are going to ask some questions to him, and he is a well-known executive coach across the world and also a prolific speaker, also a TED speaker. And those who are interested, and in fact you don't know about him, then you can look up for his TED Talk and also visit the Rao Institute for life-changing blogs and insights. So, sir, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and please guide us through your wisdom.
All right, my pleasure. I'll give it a shot, Ujjaval.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. So we'll start with this, that you are the creator of this course, Creativity and Personal Mastery. So how would you define personal mastery in today's context?
Okay. What happens in the world today, Ujjaval, is that we are buffeted by external circumstances. As a result of globalization, business has changed radically. You know, a small bookstore in a remote town in Thailand could be a competitor to the book Your Corner bookstore. Before, competition was geographically limited, and now it is global. Businesses function around the clock, so time barriers have pretty much vanished. So in this complex world, you feel that you are at the mercy of changes, and many of these changes are coming from far away. And technology is an accelerator of change. So you feel your life is out of control. But actually, that's not so. You can control what's between your ears and experience what happens not as something overwhelming, but as something which is a challenge, something that you can work at with joy. How do you affect that transformation? That's what creativity and personal mastery is all about. When you recognize that you have virtually no control over what happens outside, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. You have the inner confidence that no matter what happens, you're going to be able to deal with it and deal with it appropriately. And that is a wonderful feeling to have.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Dr. Rao. I think that definition serves very well for the viewers and listeners who would be looking at it. So this course is a collection of bunch of exercises which carries the wisdom of spiritual masters, which you have converted into the exercises. So as I also understand, one need not to have necessarily spiritual or religious about it, but we say that once you do these exercises, your life will transform. So what sort of shifts that you have experienced in people who take this course?
That's a very good question, Ujjwal. But let me first clarify that yes, there are many exercises, as you say, a bunch of exercises, but they're not independent exercises. They're very closely linked, and there is a hierarchy and structure through which you go. I draw my material from the world's greatest masters. They lived at different times, they lived a different geography, and they used examples which were pertinent to the time and space that they were in. And modern people don't necessarily relate to that language or those exercises. What I've done is I've taken the wisdom, stripped it of religious, cultural, and other connotations, and adapted it so that they are acceptable to intelligent people in a post-industrial society, and particularly the milieus in which I work, top business schools, major corporations, entrepreneurial companies, and they find that they can not only accept it, but it makes a profound change in their life. So what kind of changes do they experience? There are two major ones I'd like to point out. First of all, joy. Joy comes into their life. If you examine your own life, odds are pretty good you will find that there is always an undercurrent of tension. Something is not happening quite the way in which you would like it to happen. There are outcomes which you think are important, which could negatively affect you, and you don't know which way things are going to work out. You're tense, and this is an undercurrent that's true all the time. And most often, you're so used to it, you don't even recognize you have this undercurrent until you look at it, as I've just pointed out to you. So, more joy in your life, genuine joy. Go back to the time when you were a kid. Can you remember you could watch a puppy chase its tail for an hour? What happened to that? Wouldn't you like to have more of that kind of feeling now? Creativity and personal mastery will help you bring genuine joy into your life. And the next thing is success. Most of us have a notion that success is hard, it takes time, you have to put in effort and long hours. And I'd like to suggest that perhaps that's not true. There is this ladder of success, but you don't have to climb it rung by rung. You can leapfrog several rungs and do it again and do it still again. And that's a wonderful feeling to have when you know that, progress can be quantum leaps. How do you accomplish that? That is a big part of what creativity and personal mastery is about.
Oh, that's a wonderful insight, Dr. Rao. You are also known as Happiness Guru, and you're also an author of two more books. One is Are You Ready to Succeed? Happiness at Work, and also Modern Wisdom, Ancient Roots. So, as you have mentioned, success has very different definitions, and as our lives are dominated by work, this question came to me, so I thought of asking you that this personal mastery, how it can be connected with professional mastery. So if I ask a very, very cognitive question, that can taking this course help me eventually get promotion, make some more millions, make some more incentives? So is this course for them as well?
Yes and no, Ujjwal. And let me tell you what I mean by yes and no. As I pointed out earlier, we are buffeted by circumstances.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I would like to encourage you and everybody who's listening to this or thinking of taking CPM is don't think of your life as this is my professional life and this is my personal life. You don't have a professional life and personal life, you have one life. And either it's working for you or it's not working for you. That doesn't mean that you don't have challenges in one or more areas of your life, but don't bifurcate. Remember, you have one life. And the lessons that you take from CPM will help you in every aspect of your life. My coaching clients talk to me about what's happening with their families, with their children. They talk to me about what's happening in the boardroom, what are the professional marketing and strategic challenges that they face across the board. And the mindset that they gain is something that helps them in every aspect. So if you go out and say, yes, will I make a few more $1 million as a result of that? Who knows? But what happens is that you start acting in such a manner that success seems to dog you. You don't chase it, it chases you. You don't try to be successful. You allow yourself to be successful. It flows into your life rather than you going out and trying to make it happen. It's a wonderful feeling, and you can really understand it when you start experiencing it. This is something I repeat. Don't go out and strive with might and main and sinew and try to wrest success. No, instead, you go around doing your thing. You're confident between your ears. And you know what? Success finds you.
So, Dr. Rao, you have been teaching this course at top business schools in the world, and those students who came to you, took this course, they eventually ended up managing big corporations, their own businesses or their industrial organizations. And you have been a top executive coach also to them and many other executives. So when they came to you and now they are still in touch with you after 10 or 15 years, so what sort of growth or what sort of shifts that you have noticed in them? Basically, by asking this, I'm just trying to understand the long-term impact or lifelong impact of CPM on them.
Uh, CPM does have a lifetime impact, Ujjwal. In fact, when I was teaching at business schools, I stated on the first page of the syllabus, this course will profoundly change your life, otherwise we both fail. It's a business school course. What do you mean it'll change your life? But it really doesn't.
Yeah.
And they remain in touch because they found that they got tremendous value from the course, and they get tremendous value by being in touch, both with me and the community. We have a global community of nearly 2,000 persons who have taken CPM.
Yeah.
So it comes in various ways. First of all, you develop an inner confidence. Most executives are, if not scared, at least very unsure and anxious in between. What's going to happen? Is it going to work out or not? What's going to be the impact on me? And one of the inevitable byproducts of taking CPM and practicing and incorporating those exercises into your life is that you have a quiet confidence. You don't know what's going to come. Maybe there will be massive reverses. It's okay. You will deal with it as appropriate when it comes. And you're not going to waste your mental energy on worry. Mark Twain made a wonderful statement. It's very funny, but it's also very profound. Mark Twain said, I have suffered a great many tragedies in my life, most of which never happened. And when you recognize that this is not just funny, but a profound description of life, a lot of anxiety drops away. So one of the things that students do gain from CPM is a quiet inner confidence. And this is very contagious because when you're anchored in that feeling of quiet confidence, it radiates out. And other persons who are anxious feel it, and they become less tense, and they want to be like you. They want to be part of your team. So it spreads. That's a big, big, big plus for any leader. And the second thing that happens is you recognize that you're not an individual functioning in isolation. You're connected. It's as if you and the universe were intimately connected. And when you and the universe are in a dance together, if you lead differently, the universe doesn't have a choice but to follow differently.
Yeah.
So you find that change is happening, and you're not really driving this change by effort. You're putting forward seeds, and they flourish, and change happens organically. And it's far, far greater, far, far better than you could ever have imagined or consciously conceived. Allow the process to organically unfold.
Okay. Yes, I can testify that absolutely it is so true. So from an established corporations, you know that globally across the world, startup ecosystem is booming,
Mm-hmm.
and many a times I find young people starting up it's a fruit of passion for them.
Yeah.
But when they passionately move ahead with their startup, they also feel a lot of attachment to startup, and no matter what, they keep going, and as a result, they profoundly find themselves under stress. So, what sort of advice, Dr. Rao, you would like to give it to those startup founders who want to perhaps become a unicorn overnight, but practically it is not happening? They are passionate about it.
Passion is a wonderful thing, Ujjaval, and I encourage that wholeheartedly. But there is a model about startups which is frankly quite harmful, and I would like to dispel that. And the model is, yes, if you start your own startup, then you have to put in long hours, and there is going to be strain, family relations are going to suffer, and there are all kinds of sacrifices that you have to make. It's utterly false. You don't have to do that. Understand you do have to do the work. Understand that it may take a long time. But that feeling of busyness, that feeling of struggle, that does not have to be there. That is entirely within your head. The feeling of busyness is in your head, and that's highly detrimental to your physical well-being. Yes, you put in the hours, but if you see yourself as an instrument of the universe and you're working for a cause which brings a greater good to a greater community, there is an inner harmony and inner peace. So the work still has to be done, the time still has to be put in, but you find that you're almost energized rather than debilitated by what happens. Most entrepreneurs, especially startup entrepreneurs, go through a cycle. You oscillate between elation and despair. That need not be so. You can be pulled by a grand vision and be completely immersed in it and have a great sense of calm, even as business conditions are turbulent and you face ups and downs. That is something that startup entrepreneurs don't necessarily realize. But when they do, they're ever so much more effective and things happen ever so much faster. We're all too busy trying to make things happen. Instead, you focus on your effort and allow things to happen. Don't strive for success. Let success chase you. That's a very important mind shift change.
Yeah. Wow. I'm absorbing this wisdom, and I really wish startup founders pay attention to this, because otherwise what happens is when they are successful, maybe that startup has become unicorn, but they are down and out.
Yes.
So that's what both can coexist.
That's something I absolutely want to emphasize, Ujjaval. Look, I was addressing a group of entrepreneurs, must have been over 100 of them. And I asked them, how many of you want to run $1 billion company? And every hand shook up, I want to run $1 billion company. And I invited them to think about it. And no, you don't want to run $1 billion company. You want the feeling you will have when you run $1 billion company. And even that is not true, Ujjaval. You don't want the feeling you have when you run $1 billion company. You want the feeling you think you will have when you run $1 billion company. And the only way you can think of to get that feeling is to actually run $1 billion company. So you struggle and you hire people, you come up with strategies, you get financing, you expand and do what you can to run $1 billion company. And then you find the feeling you thought you have is not the feeling you actually have. So understand that what you're really seeking deep down is you're seeking a sense of completeness, a sense of fulfillment. And running a company is a part of life for you now, because that is the situation in which you're put. So by all means, work to make that happen. But work to make that happen because that is your current path in life. And what you're really seeking is complete fulfillment, unalloyed joy, which lasts. And yes, running a company, growing it to $1 billion, or why stop at a billion, make it 10 billion? Perfectly possible. May happen, it may not happen, but it will not affect your well-being. And when you start doing things from a sense of fulfillment, as opposed to, if I succeed, I will be fulfilled, you will find that not only is your enjoyment, your experience of life better, but the probability that you will succeed is exponentially greater. This is a discovery that you have to make for yourself. But when it does, it'll open up your horizon, new vistas, and life will be ever so much better.
So, Dr. Rao, that brings me to the personal realm. There are many people that I find they are at the crossroads in their lives. So their relationships are at stake. They feel rudderless in their career, and they feel that I don't know, my life is in auto mode, and I don't know where I'm going. So, and they feel that they are not balanced from within. So, if they take this course, then what sort of internal alignment that they can seek using some of the wisdom of the spiritual masters?
Excellent question, Ujjaval. And that is actually the core of creativity and personal mastery. Many people are unhappy with their life and they think there is not much they can do. This is the reality. I am stuck.
Yeah.
We're all living in a matrix, Ujjaval. If you've seen the film, The Matrix, we're all living in there. And we're all living in a matrix. But this is not a matrix created by an alien civilization out to enslave us. It's a matrix that we have created with our mental chatter and mental models. And really, the notion that we're living in a matrix is hugely liberating. Because if you're living in a real world and you don't like it, you're screwed. Grin and bear it. But if you're living in a construct and you don't like it, that's wonderful. You can deconstruct the parts of it you don't like and build it up again. And you can do this again and again and again. It's the rest of your life process. And that is one of the foundation stones, if you will, of CPM. And in fact, many, perhaps the majority of students who take it say that their first major breakthrough happened as a result of an exercise. I call it the alternate reality exercise, where they suddenly realize, oh my God, this is not the real world. I thought it was the real world and I was stuck in it and, suffering and I couldn't see my way out. But it's merely a reality. It is not the reality. And that is so hugely liberating, because then you can take that principle and apply it to business, your career. You can apply it at home, to your family. And the number of areas where you can apply it is infinite.
Yeah.
You're given a tool which will serve you forever.
Forever. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that another construct that I feel people live in, and many people talk to me as well, and they talk to you as well. So they live in an incongruent matrix. So they feel inadequate from within, but for the outside world, they have to show up with a strong face. And that duality creates that resistance and stress within. So what's your advice to them on creating that harmony and peace within?
This is something that's so ingrained in our culture, Ujjaval, that it takes a very, very long time to overcome. And I remember one of my students, he was the CEO of a billion-pound company, who said, Professor Rao, they talk about being vulnerable, and let me tell you, that is a crock. There was one time when I was feeling unsure of myself, so I decided to be vulnerable and shared my thoughts with my team. And the very next day, my president resigned. He found a job elsewhere, and I know two of my other team members are looking. And a major business newspaper sent a reporter to interview and said, you made a public statement that you're highly confident of reaching your goals, but it seems that you told your executives that you were not sure which is the truth. So When you're a leader, being vulnerable in the sense of admitting your fears may not always be the best thing to do. So, how do you deal with this problem? Well, one way, of course, is to fake it till you make it. So, no matter how you're feeling inside, you put on a bold front outside, and many people do it, and sometimes it works. But it does create a lot of internal strain. There is another way, a better way, and this better way is a big part of creativity and personal mastery, and that is not to be vulnerable. And how do you not be vulnerable? You become not vulnerable by anticipating and making your peace with the fact that things will happen, and sometimes those things that happen will be very adverse. Look at it this way. When a tsunami hits you, it's a wonderful idea to be able to surf on the tsunami and say, boy, what a great ride this is. But if you want to surf on a tsunami, you better learn surfing on the 2-foot waves. You cannot learn to surf on a tsunami.
Yes.
So what you do in CPM is you learn to surf the 2-foot waves. And when you are good at surfing the 2-foot waves, then when the tsunami hits, there's a pretty good chance you can surf it and say, look at the wonderful ride I'm having. And when you're in that space, no matter what happens, you're not phased. You don't have to fake confidence. There is that inner confidence, and not only does it help you in your life, but it radiates out to your team, and they all rally together and do what needs to be done without that, oh my God, what's going to happen? This is terrible. And all the feelings that are so prevalent in the corporate world today. It's a very powerful process, but you have to start it well before any kind of major misfortune.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rao. That reminds me of the word that you keep telling us many a times is keep, how do you feel radiantly alive
Correct.
from within? Yeah.
And radiantly alive, it's wonderful to be radiantly alive all the time.
Yes.
That's the vision which we're driving towards. But let's say that if you don't feel your blood singing at the thought of being who you are and doing what you do, if you don't come radiantly alive for at least a portion of each day, then, hey, you're wasting your life. Why would you want to do that?
Yes. So, Dr. Rao, if I can ask you one last question. So, thank you for all the insights in this conversation. So, some people ask me, they are driven by the measures of success matrix, etc. So they ask me that, when you took this course, what was the measure of success? So my answer was very different, that I think I stopped chasing any matrix of success because for me, it's a very, very spiritual journey. And I felt that my success was just I got accepted into this course. And then my life is run by the universe. I surrender, I give up my control. But that answer did not go well with their cognitive mindset. So I thought of asking you that you also must be getting these questions with a lot of type A personalities around, that what kind of measure of success that one can evaluate that, okay, I was at X and now I am at X plus stage in my deepening of my understanding and joy in life?
Very good question, Ujjaval, because a lot of what I teach in creativity and personal mastery is contrary to the way the world operates or most people think. And you define success in material terms. What is your position? What is your hierarchy? Are you famous? Do you have your big mansion or private plane or super yacht or whatever?
Yeah.
And you struggle hard to achieve all of that. And what I would like them to understand is you're using a mental model. And the mental model you're using is, I've got to have all of this because when I have all of this, I will feel fulfilled, I will feel happy, I will feel content. And the reality is that's a broken mental model. It doesn't work. Look at your own life. Go back 10 years and there were many things you wanted 10 years ago. Odds are pretty good that many of the things you wanted 10 years ago, you now have. And you were thrilled for a day, a week, and then it simply become part of the background of your life. and there are other things you want. So first get that feeling of fulfillment, and that is available to you right now. And from that sense of fulfillment, then you reach towards your goal. And now you're still striving, but you're not striving because I have to get it. If I get it, I'll be fulfilled. You're striving because that is your path in life. And then you'll find that success beyond your wildest dream chases you.
Yeah.
Don't chase success. I've mentioned that repeatedly. Let success chase you. And that will make such a huge difference in your experience of life. And many things that you thought, how am I ever going to achieve that? You look and say, why did I have such small dreams?
Yeah.
That's a discovery process, and I invite you to join me in finding out for yourself how powerful these principles are.
Absolutely, Dr. Rao. And what I'm getting from this, an insight for myself, is that the measure of success or matrix of success is not outside, not mastering the outside success, but mastering the inside
Internal
success.
world. The journey is always internal. We think it's external, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's always internal.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rao, for these powerful insights. And you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Ujjaval, and you have a wonderful rest of your life.
Thank you, Dr. Rao.